Hello, thank you for joining us today. This is Dr. Betz, and he's a public policy consultant who effectively advocates for healthcare providers and associations. Due to the recent Affordable Care Act, many changes have already been implemented, except for business owners. In this interview, there will be a discussion on whether or not the Affordable Care Act is beneficial to both small and large employers, and if the difference is worthwhile in the long term. So thank you for joining us today. With the recent Affordable Care Act, do you think that is serving the best interests of all Americans?
I think that the Affordable Care Act is one piece of a three-piece puzzle. There is the problem of access, there's the problem of quality, and there's the problem of cost control. That's what I refer to in my teaching at George Washington University as the three-headed dragon. The Affordable Care Act, which is a mammoth piece of legislation, social engineering, basically is designed to affect just the access piece. A lot of people refer to it as universal coverage here in the United States. It really is not, simply because of the Supreme Court ruling. It is near universal coverage. But we are getting more people to be covered, and in that is a great accomplishment for this
If you don't
administration.
mind me
Sure.
interrupting, President Obama is the first president to actually get, something like near universal coverage passed in the United States. Previous presidents have tried, but they failed. What do you think he did differently?
Well, every president since Truman, other presidents have thought about it, but the first president to actually introduce legislation was Truman, and every president since then has had a major health reform initiative. Depending on the political parties, it has a lot to do with how broad those initiatives were, but every president has tried. Obama was successful where others have failed, quite frankly. But again, it's just one piece of the puzzle.
How will the Affordable Care Act affect coverage in regards to small businesses?
It depends on your perspective. I'm on the board of directors of a company in Memphis, Tennessee. And through the economic recession that we've been through, the personnel in this business have dropped from a historic norm of about 320 employees. And the board of directors on which I sit has been advised by the president of this company that we need to get those employees down below 50, because that's the cutoff for employers to have to provide insurance. If they have 51 plus, then they have to provide health insurance for their employees. And the president of the company is using this as a strategic decision that they don't want to have to be responsible for healthcare, because healthcare costs are a huge part of the operational costs today of any corporation, large or small. The larger corporations, I believe, from the Affordable Care Act, most of them are providing health insurance in some way or another. So it theoretically is not going to affect them that much if they continue to offer it. Now, there are penalties if they don't.
And it would be a monthly payment for that penalty.
That if you're talking up in the thousands of employees, tens of thousands, General Motors, Ford, etc., even some of the health insurance companies, if you think about it, they have employees too, are going to be facing those kinds of decisions. And quite frankly, the question is, are they better off paying the penalty than offering the insurance?
In your opinion, what do you think? Do you think it's better to pay the penalty than just give in?
That's an economic decision for the businesses. I think the startling thing about the approach that the Affordable Care Act is how it buttresses or supports private health insurance. Some people argue that the Affordable Care Act was really a reform of the health insurance industry. Now, that may not have been what they started out to do, but it is basically reform of the private health insurance market. And subsequently, by setting up the state exchanges, this may be politically something that plays very well with the other political party that did not cast a single vote in support of the Affordable Care Act. Because Republicans are supportive of the private sector, and if we're supporting private insurance through the various exchanges that are out there, that kind of goes down their path of philosophy. And I think that's going to be a very interesting thing to watch, if the Republicans embrace the insurance exchanges. It's all based, I think, on the German model of healthcare. My guess is that there will probably be more companies that pay the penalty than we suspect.
Do you think that a lot of companies, as you said before, that they'll let some employees go in order to keep under that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that the example that I gave you about the lumber company in Memphis is one of the things that's holding back our economic recovery right now, is the uncertainty